Recognizing controlling behavior. In this episode, we are going to talk about the signs of a controlling relationship, exploring various forms of abuse and manipulation. Join us as we uncover the patterns and behaviors that may indicate you're in a controlling relationship. Welcome to Vent 365, where we're not just a podcast, we are family. My name is Lainey.
Lacey.
Robin.
This is your new favorite podcast where we will be venting about women's issues. We would also like to hear your stories. For a chance to be a guest on our show, please reach out to us at vent365podcast@gmail.com. Okay, ladies, let's talk it out.
Let's talk it out. Let's talk it out, y'all. There's all kind of abuse. We all know that, correct? And verbal and emotional abuse. And like I said, there's all levels. But there's also a controlling level, controlling behavior, which we all know that can, when we're talking about controlling behavior, it can manifest in many different forms that a lot of us are not even aware of. Okay. Or maybe it's been going on for so long, we're just immune to it. I don't know.
Yes.
But it affects all women of all ages and backgrounds. There's also abuses such as financial manipulation. And that was something that I had experienced for many, many years in a relationship that I was in. And that's horrible as well. But in talking about controlling, how to recognize when you're in that type of a situation. Have any of us here been in that type of in a controlling environment?
For sure. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
Okay. With that said, let me just ask this, okay? Because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. All right. But would y'all feel comfortable about sharing that today? If you don't, just say not you, but do you feel comfortable about sharing what you went through?
Yeah, I don't know if we're comfortable, but
it's to help everybody else. Because when they see that other people are going through the same thing, that might motivate them to say, you know what, this is not normal.
Yes, for sure.
Lace, let me ask you, were you in a controlling, or have you been in a controlling relationship? And when did it start for you, and how did you realize and you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm going to be okay. Yeah.
Okay.
This little,
all right.
Okay. I have unfortunately been through every type of abuse imaginable, unfortunately. I know we're talking about verbal and emotional. We're talking about financial. I really have not been through the financial aspect of abuse and controlling, but definitely emotional and verbal. I have so many stories. It's really no time for all of that, but what I will say is for like the verbal and emotional, one thing to look at when you're dating somebody, my kid's father is definitely very verbally and emotionally abusive. One thing he did throughout our relationship is try to pin me against my family and try to like stir up chaos within people I love. So you have to know, like, if you're with somebody and they don't want you to be around people that you are close with, they want to stir up fights with people that are really closely connected to you, that is definitely a form of abuse. There's countless of arguments, countless of him stirring up the pot with whoever I was connected to. So that is definitely a form of like isolation.
Yes, definitely.
They'll
Absolutely.
try to isolate you with people that you're really close with. And when you're younger, you think, well, they just want me all to themselves.
Right, right.
But as you get older, you realize this person wants me to like sink and be just all up underneath them. And that's not, it's not safe. It's not,
It's also not love.
it's not love.
No.
A person that loves you will want you around the people that you love as well. They don't want you
Absolutely.
to be just connected to them so they can do whatever you want. They can do whatever they want with you. They want you to be with people that you love as well. So if you're ever in a situation where like you're dating somebody and they're like causing issues with your best friend, your mom, your dad, your cousin, anybody that you're closely connected with, it's a big red flag, and that's controlling. That's not love. So there's been many instances where my child's father has caused disarray with pretty much all my family, unfortunately. So if you're with somebody like that, that you're noticing people that you're connected with, they'll just post stuff to cause stir and fights. It's time to really evaluate that relationship and just get away from it, because it's not healthy and it's not going to really do anything for you in the long run. Because if you stay with that person and you keep dropping off people that are close with you, and then you have nobody but them, then you're going to be in big trouble. So that's definitely a controlling factor when you're in a relationship. So take heed to those signs, because that's dangerous.
So how long did that take place with you before you realized that? And once you realized that, what did you do to,
Well,
to claim yourself again, basically?
well, you gotta get away from that person in that type of relationship. Now, unfortunately, I have kids with that person, so I'm still connected with them some way. Ladies, if you watch that Risa Tisa thing, she got blessed and she wasn't, connected with them long term. But when you're connected with someone long term, it's still like somewhat hard, because I don't think my child's father wants me connected with anybody. So try to see the red flags before you get connected permanently with somebody. That's definitely
Right.
a key,
Yeah.
because
Right.
it's definitely different when you have kids with somebody that you saw those red flags with and you didn't take heed to. Now, I really didn't see the red flags until I was pregnant, to be honest. When I got pregnant, I found out that he was talking to one of my cousins, or like flirting with one of my cousins behind my back. So I didn't really know until I was pregnant about how, bad it was, and didn't really know how bad it was going to get. But that's why you should probably date somebody a while before you have kids. I was not even a year in and had a kid with him. I was pregnant within a year. So that's another thing. To find out who somebody really is, try to get to know them as much as possible, because, you end up having, kids with them very soon. You're connected with them no matter what, whether you like it or not. Well, if they're going to be a present person
right,
in the
yeah.
kids' lives, you're going to be connected with them. So,
And I think of somebody that doesn't have kids yet, and you even see a hint of a flag, right?
right.
You don't want to have children with that individual,
No.
in majority of the cases, y'all, it doesn't go away.
Never.
It doesn't go
It gets
away.
worse.
It only gets worse.
Way worse.
Okay. And we don't want to bring children into that situation. Okay. If you don't already have children, just don't. Okay.
Yeah, it's not fair to the kids. Trust me.
Absolutely. Lane, let me ask you, were you ever in that type of a relationship?
I would have to say for controlling, mine was pretty recent. The last guy that I dated, I brought him over for y'all to meet.
Yeah, I remember.
And I realized his controlling behavior was he did it in a way to where I didn't quite realize that it was controlling behavior. And then I don't know how the light bulb went off in my head and was like, okay, he's trying to control me. So what he would do is he would, he knew my schedule, and he would call me just as soon as I woke up, and we would talk to each other on the phone as we was both getting ready for work, and he would talk to me until either he got to his job or until I got to my job. And I realized that he was doing things like that so he would know what I was doing and where I was at all times. Because then he would also call me like just as soon as he knew I got off, and then we would be on the phone because we lived like an hour away from each other, and we would be on the phone for long periods of time in the evening. And usually the only time that we wasn't on the phone would be when he was playing his video games and he was, how they talk to their other buddies on the headset or something like that, would probably be the only time that we wasn't on the phone. So it's just, it was exhausting.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was exhausting. So that was one thing that I had noticed. Plus, he had an issue with women in general. He was very misogynistic and chauvinist, and thought that he basically felt like women should probably be barefoot and pregnant, and woman get in that kitchen and cook me meals, and I bring home the bacon, you stay home, and we wasn't dating for a very long time, and he wanted me to move in with him. And he was talking about getting a house and all this stuff, and I said, okay, let's wait like a year and see what's going on after that. But he wanted me to move in so he could, so he would know where I was at and what.
So he can have a better control.
Right.
Over
Yeah.
You, better.
Yes. So between that and some other issues that we had, it lasted, I don't know, 3-4 months. And
geez, I done 3 and 4 months.
Right.
I thought y'all was longer than that.
No, it was pretty short, I think.
It wasn't very long, but I cut it off.
That's how you cut off red flags, ladies and gentlemen.
Abruptly.
3-4 months in. Quickly.
I think it
quicker than that.
Was it a one-time family function? Or was it
right.
2? Was it 1?
I think it was just the one time.
And then we didn't see him anymore.
Exactly.
We didn't see him anymore.
That's true.
Okay, that's when she was getting control.
That was in November.
No.
And then I think it was like January 2nd or 3rd is when I called it off. I was like,
yeah,
we can't do this no more. And he started crying on the phone. I said, don't start crying.
Yeah.
Don't even
it's not going to do any good.
Don't even try it. I mean, I'm usually not that hardcore, but he always came across like he's this alpha male, and he's all that in a bag of chips, and like he got his stuff together. And then he started crying, and I was like, no, don't do it. But yeah, he had several issues. I mean, anytime when you call your mother woman, he called his mom woman.
I never heard of that.
Okay, so he never called her mom.
He never called her mom.
He would refer to her as woman.
No, he would, like, if he was talking to me, he would say, I was talking to my mom or whatever. But if he was talking to her, he would say woman. And he said that he had done that almost his entire life when he was a child.
Well, that's his mama's fault.
That is his
She let
mama's
that
fault.
go on way too long. Way too long. Oh, no. Well, let me ask y'all a question. Have you ever been through, we're talking about verbal, it's emotional, which, that's a lot within itself. Okay. And have you ever been called out of your name? Been yelled at? Screamed at?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Did you go through that, Lace? Being
Yeah.
cussed out?
Yes, I have. When you're with somebody, you want to be have trust. And a lot of times when somebody doesn't trust you and you don't show them any reasons that there should be trust issues, it's because they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing. So I had other people go through my phone, find something that somebody else sent me. I didn't entertain it, but found something else that somebody else sent to me and ended up cussing me clean out. There's been several issues with my kid's dad where he calls me the B word. He calls me every name imaginable.
And he says these things in front of the kids as well.
Yeah, and
Unfortunately.
that's why, I have to try to make it to where the kids can't really go places with him without me, because if he calls me names in front of them,
What's he saying to him?
what would he say behind my back? So that's why, ladies, you got to take your time meeting these people, because unfortunately some of us have kids with these people. But again, if I dated somebody else again, I would take my time. And also, if somebody's telling you something about somebody you're dating that they know about, take it to heed. Don't think they're trying to be a hater. Don't think they're trying to stir up the pot, because if I would have listened, I might not have been in the situation I'm in, although I have two beautiful girls with somebody I'm talking about. But if somebody's telling you about somebody, do not think they're hating. Okay. That could be God send a little messenger to you, telling you to, pump the brakes. So don't think woman or anybody, matter of fact, trying to give you a little heads up is hating. Take that to heed, because, that could have spared me some anguish. But, hey, I've learned from it. And that's why we want to talk about controlling issues, because we want you to know the red flags. So you might not have to go through some of the stuff that, we've gone through. But yeah, somebody calling you out your name is just unacceptable. And you shouldn't even be with that person, period. Now, they might be a better person than somebody else. Highly doubt it if they're calling people out their names. Also, too, when Aunt Lanny was saying, you got to really think about how somebody treats their mother, how somebody talks to their mom, how somebody treats their mom, because if they don't love their mom properly,
they're not respecting the mom right.
Right.
That is a red flag.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And then I think when you have kids too, and they witness all of this, how are they going to grow up?
Right.
I mean, how is that teaching them anything? Are they going to grow up, or if you have daughters, are they going to grow up and expect that this is normal? You don't want your kids to grow up and think that this is normal. This is how your mate should talk to you. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's not. So,
or they might be the ones that end up being controlling.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's never no bright light at the end of a tunnel like that. That can be very ugly. I know I was in, my first serious relationship, and it was very abusive. But I'm going to tell y'all, he called me names I had to look up in the dictionary. I didn't know what they meant.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And this is, way back, but I mean, you might hear him clearly now, but back then I I had never even heard it, you know, and very, very disturbing. And everybody was afraid of this individual. You know, this started when I was in high school, and, you know, people would dodge me because they didn't want to, you know, like a guy didn't want to say hi to me because they know that they would get beat up by this guy. Okay. He was very abusive and everybody was afraid of him. That's what made it so bad. You know, he used to, abuse his mother, his sister. He used to throw glasses at them and hit them and cuss them out.
Wow.
And, cussing me out and hitting me. You know, and I know that's getting into the physical part of it, but it's all a part of emotional abuse as well.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
was young. I was young when I started, when that abuse started, y'all, I was probably 16. And I hid a lot of things from my parents and my siblings, you know, and because I didn't want them to get involved. And, you know, you always think that these kind of things are going to go away.
Yeah.
You know, you talk it out, you make up, it's going to go away. They say they're never going to talk to you like that again. They're never going to touch you like that again. And, you know, you take it in and you're okay. We, you know, back then you say we had it out,
Yeah.
you know, and, but it's a lot deeper than that. And unfortunately, I ended up marrying this person, you know, and it was sad because I remember, and I think I married him more because I was afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was afraid of him. You know, it was one of those situations. If it's not me, then your life's going to be miserable. Okay. That's
Yeah.
how he, you know, was
Yeah.
treated. That's the feeling I got from him. And like I said, nobody could come in my defense because they were being abused as well. Okay. And, you know, I'll just say this real quick. When we did get married, and I remember on my wedding day, my father asking me, because they didn't know anything. They just kind of felt something wasn't right with me because I kept everything away from them. And my dad said, "Are you wanting to do this?" And I said, yeah, I'm okay, Dad. I'm okay, you know? And he kept looking at me and he kept asking me, you know? And y'all, just looking back, I wish I just would have said, "No, Dad, I don't want to do this." Okay. That would have saved me a lot of heartbreak and, a lot of bad times. And I remember we had gone to, New Jersey one time, and that was my first time meeting his, father. And I thought, okay, this is good because I'm going to be able to talk to his dad and kind of fill him out and let him know
Right.
how his son is. Okay. And his dad was also seeing, you know, this woman that they had been together for years. They weren't married, but they had been together for years. And he, and it was, you know, one night, it was just her and I, and, you know, his dad was out. And I think that, the man I was with was out with his dad too. Well, I remember smelling food about 2:00 in the morning, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm thinking, why am I smelling this? I know I'm not dreaming. I'm kind of awake, you know? And I remember getting up, going into the kitchen, and, you know, his mate was in there cooking pork chops, fried
In the
potatoes
middle of the night.
in the middle of the night. And I remember, and I said, you know, I called her name. I said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? And she says, well, he called, he's on his way home, and I got to have this fixed. I said, are you serious? You know?
Yeah.
And she says, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I got to make sure he has a full meal when he gets back.
Oh my God.
And I said,
Wow.
oh my gosh. And you all know what I was thinking.
yeah.
I was thinking, oh no.
Yeah.
And then she had opened her kitchen cabinet door underneath the sink. She had opened the door, and there were 7 phones. You know, it was landlines back then, 7 phones underneath the kitchen sink. And I said, well, what's going on here? And she said, well, he would get mad if I was on the phone. He would just snatch the cord out of the wall.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And then she would tell me about a time they had went to a party and they were in a Mustang and the shift was on the floor of the car and he didn't like the way her hair was fixed. So he rammed her head into the shifter on the floor of the car.
Wow.
And I knew right then and there,
So you couldn't get no help from him.
Yeah, there was not going to be any help there. And that
No.
was one of the most horrific times of my life. Really, it was. And I mean, he had choked me one time over a hamburger. He had choked me in a grocery parking lot and got on top of me and choked me. And I had choke marks all over my neck.
In the parking lot?
In the parking lot of the grocery store. Okay.
Oh my
He got on
gosh.
top of me and choked the crap out of me. And I'll never forget, it was summertime and I wore like a turtleneck so my family would not, be able to see the marks because my brothers would have went crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I didn't want them to like go to jail or it's crazy how your mind works with you,
Yes.
And I just, y'all, I'm telling you, it was horrible. And I will say that at the time that I did decide to leave, and I was scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it started out when he would hit me and stuff. It would follow up by saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would take it in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Couple months later, it would happen again. One hit, one punch after the other. And then it got to the point where there was no more sorries after that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
It was just an expected action.
Right.
Okay. See, and this is how we, our minds just play tricks with us, y'all.
Yes.
It
Right.
just does,
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that was back at a period of time when people weren't even really openly talking about
No.
those
Yeah.
kind of relationships.
No Me Too movement or nothing. Yeah.
There was none of that social media. There was none of that going on, And so you really felt like you were like self-encased in your own hell. There was nobody to really talk to, And the night that I finally got the nerve to leave, I'll never forget it. And he was working third shift. And I thought, well, this is my time. It was about 2:00 in the morning and I had all my stuff packed up. And y'all, I don't know what happened, but he had got off early. Okay. He had got off work early and came home and caught me carrying the clothes and everything
no.
down the steps. Okay. And he was a weightlifter as well. He
remember
would
that.
bench press. You remember that?
I remember that.
And he was strong. Oh, and
Yeah,
he could fight. He was crazy. And, and women don't ever feel like, when you're in a relationship like that you feel protected. No, that's not the kind of protection because at some point it's going to turn against you,
Yeah.
Right.
And, but he came in the house, called me every name in the book, threw my clothes out on the lawn, and he came in, and I'll never forget, back then we had coffee tables that were made out of, was it plexiglass? And you had the bricks underneath them. They were decorated back then. And he took down that table and he picked up those bricks and held it this far from my face. And he said, and I'm just sharing this, y'all. He said, bitch, I'm going to bash your brain in
Oh my God.
trying to leave me. Okay. And he just kept it held at my face. I was terrified.
Bad.
And he dropped the brick, went in there and picked up the refrigerator and slammed it down. That's just how strong he was. He picked up the refrigerator in the kitchen and slammed it down. I was scared to death. Okay?
Yeah.
And y'all, I'm going to tell you, God was with me. He was with me. You know, I talked myself. You know, I had talked to him in a way of, you know, I love you. This is what I was saying because I was just wanting to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And so you have to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love you. The only reason why I was just leaving is because I just need to spend a little bit of time away to see the best way that you and I can work on our situation and be together, you know, and sometimes we gotta, you know, just be outside, you know, the box a little bit. And I can't remember all the things that I said, but it was like, it was very creative,
Exactly.
you know, to the point where he said, so you coming back, right? And I said, yes, I'm coming back. You know, I said, my God, I love you. Are you, come on. I just need time. I just need time just to think about how we're going to do this in the best way for you and I. Okay. So we can have a family and move on. Y'all, at that point, I had no intentions on any of that stuff.
Right.
Okay. I left. I never went back.
Thank God.
And then I shared with my family at that point everything that I had been through, that I had kept to myself for years and years. Y'all don't do that. You let people know what's going on with you. Let people know what's going on with you. You know, another thing, you know, like now we've got 360s and all of that we can track each other. If y'all are in a kind of relationship that something's not right, for one thing, you need to be out of that relationship.
True.
Okay? Or at least let your family know, let your people know where you are. Okay? In case something goes down, we can find you. Okay? You know, and I'm sorry, y'all. We were talking about the control thing, and it just, you know, went off in my head. Some of the things that I had, you know, gone through as well, which, you know, a lot of that. But, you know, were you ever physically abused or verbally or
verbally, verbal and emotional? I went through 12, 13 years of that.
Of the verbal abuse?
Yes.
Oh, yes. My goodness. 13 years.
Yeah. I didn't have so much physical, I would say, in my first marriage. There was a little bit of physical. I remember when we were dating and we were driving past the post office and we was in an argument about something, and he was driving and we was right beside the post office, and he grabbed me by my throat. And that was the first time anybody had ever put their hands on me. And I jumped out of the car and I ran into, it was like at night.
Oh my God.
The post office was actually open, but it was basically open for people with like P.O. boxes or whatever, but there was nobody in there.
Okay.
So I ran in there.
Oh my God.
And there was nowhere for me to go. So I got back in the car, and cause he came to the post office, and
he went inside the post office.
He came and got me, and I said, take me home. So we went home, but unfortunately I ended up marrying that person, because, you know, you don't know any better. And, you know, when you're in a relationship, and that was like the only time that he really put his hands on me. So you gave him a pass? At that point. So it was like giving him a pass. Yeah, it was like I gave him a pass. Okay, you just did it one time. Right. So you know. When we got married, a couple years into the marriage, we got in an argument. And at this time, when I was young, I had like, I wouldn't say a bad attitude, but I was quick with, you know, getting mad about something. So I got mad at him about something. We was having an argument, and I was pretty feisty back in the day, and I had actually snatched him up. Like I had take him like this, and I snatched him up.
Oh wow!
Hey,
I was in his face, and we was arguing about something, and he actually pushed me, and I fell over a chair into the wall. And I was pretty scared at that point, and I digressed from whatever we was arguing about because I didn't know what was going to happen from that point.
Right,
but
right.
other than those two instances was that I can think of is about the only time that I've had physical abuse, but the verbal and emotional was an ongoing thing in one relationship. And he would just he had a couple of things going on with him. He was a functioning alcoholic. I think he might have been
Those are the worst.
I think he might have been bipolar as well. But he would, I don't know if it was the drinking that made it worse. It probably was.
Yeah.
But he would drink. We worked second shift, and when he would get off, we would get off like at 11 o'clock, and he would drink until, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and I would be asleep. And he would come, and I would be asleep, and he would come into the room, and he'd flip on the overhead light.
Mm-hmm.
And once he did that, I knew it was on. So when he flipped on the overhead lights, he would come in there and just start going off about whatever. And
you would be asleep,
I was
right?
asleep. And he would come in with an attitude ready to, argue.
Oh my God.
And I'm dead asleep. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I seen you talking to that guy. He's like, we have to work together. Because the job that we had is like, there was this table where you had to have somebody with you at the table, and sometimes it would be a guy. And so, to get through the day, you talk to that person that's right in front of you. So if he seen me talking to that person, laughing, having a good time or whatever, trying to get through the work day, he did not like that. It's, I seen you laughing and smiling. What, you want to be with him now? And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like arguing about stuff. And he was just, the worst. I mean,
so they try to put it all on you.
Yes.
Right?
Right. Yeah. He would,
trying to flip the script to take it off of them, or it might be something they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, I think he had an issue with, we was 10 years in age difference, and he always thought I would leave him for someone younger.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, it would be somebody my age or younger than him that I was working with. So it didn't matter who the person was, attractive, not attractive, not my type, whatever. It was, I had something to do with this person. It's like, no, I'm just having conversation, trying to get through the day. But, on the way to work, he would, go at me about different stuff. And it was wild. I remember one time, there was a Pepsi can in the bathroom that he would get ready in. We had 2 full baths. I had my own bathroom. He had his own bathroom. And so in his bathroom, there was an empty Pepsi can in there. And it got in there from when my mom and dad would come over in the middle of the day, and they would take out my dogs for us because we worked second shift. So they had thrown away a Pepsi can, an empty Pepsi can, in his trash can in his bathroom.
In his bathroom.
And he had a freaking cow that there was an empty Pepsi can in his trash.
Oh my gosh.
And he just went at me, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's in the trash. It's supposed to go in the trash. Doesn't matter what trash it's in.
Right, exactly. Trash is a trash.
You're filthy and your family's filthy and this, and he just, you know, just
Oh,
going
my
on and on and
gosh.
on and on. And I'm like, you know what, dude, whatever. I
Right.
mean, you just get to the point where you're just like, you know, you just have your own little spat and just keep it moving, because I don't know what you're talking about. It's not making no sense that trash is in the trash. It doesn't matter what trash can it's in. So just things like that. There was a lot of accusing and verbal abuse, and every now and then he called me out my name, you know, called me bees or whatever. But yeah, then I got fed up and I just said, enough's enough. And I remember my parents trying to get us to stay together because I kept it from my family.
Right,
I mean, none
right.
of you guys really
No,
knew.
No, this is new
we
to
did
us.
not know.
Y'all
did not
had
know.
no clue that I was going through any of that.
No.
So they was, you know, my mom and dad come over and try to talk to us and everything, and I just got to the point where it's like, nope, I don't want nothing to do with him no more. And it's like, you know, you got to work it out. Da, da, da. And then I finally had to just say, you guys don't know what I've been going through. He's doing XYZ, and I'm tired of this, and I just can't do it anymore. And they told us to go to counseling. We went to the church and we had counseling at the church. And I remember the pastor, he had told my mother, he's like, he was telling her that when we went to counseling, he could tell on my face that it wasn't going to work because he could tell I was done.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I was like, you know, I went to counseling. We talked and everything. And he's like, yeah, you guys, you got to work it out. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we can work on that. We can work on that. I had no intention
Absolutely.
on working out anything. And I also felt like one reason I stayed in that marriage is you kind of feel like you're a failure. If you're, you know, a Christian and you're not supposed to divorce, if, you know, for only for certain reasons and all that. So that's why I tried to make it work. And I just got to the point was like, Lord, enough is enough. And then I kind of got wind that it was a possibility that he might have been cheating. So with that, I was just like, hoping this is a sign that maybe if he is, then it would be right in God's eyes that we are divorcing.
That would be the justification.
Right,
that
right.
You needed,
yeah. It would be an extra justification because I was done.
Right. You were done.
I was done.
Right.
I couldn't do it anymore. And so yeah, there was like some rumors of some things going on, and then after that, when we split, then it went into a little bit of harassment. He would harass anybody that he seen talking to me at work because we worked together.
Oh.
And he would, if he seen me talking to certain people, certain guys at work, he would, you know, see them in, you know, the hallway or whatever. Say, yeah, congratulations. I see you and Laney's together now and all this. And they're like,
little
what?
kid stuff.
Yeah. He's like, then I had a lot of people like stop talking to me. And these were like really good friends of mine. And they would stop talking to me. I'm like, hey, why come you're not talking to me anymore? Well, your ex is, you know, coming at me and saying all this stuff, saying, you know, congratulations. And I see you guys, you making a good couple and all this. And I'm like, no. And I was like, you know, I'll take care of it. And when I moved out, another thing that he had done, I moved out. I took the 3 dogs, and he did not know where I moved to. And one time I had taken the dogs out in the back, and in the back was a big cornfield where I was staying. And I was in the back of my house, and I looked up, and he was walking up the sidewalk of the back. And I just looked, and I was frightened because I'm like, what are you doing here? And he didn't really have like a
And
way
this
of,
was at your new place.
this is at my new place, that he had no idea where I
Sheesh.
went.
Oh,
Somehow
my
he had
goodness.
found out where I stayed, or somebody told him where I stayed. And when I seen him walking up, I didn't know what his intentions were, and it frightened me. And at this time, I had my German Shepherd, Lexi. I miss that dog, but she seen him coming, and she growled at him. And he stayed, a distance away from me, and I can't even remember what he said to me. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, how do you know where I live? And I for the life of me, I can't even remember the conversation. I just remember being frightened, and I remembered my German Shepherd growling at him like, you gonna get away from my mama. I know that.
I know
And
that's right.
this was his dog at one time.
But he hadn't always been nice to that dog.
He was not.
Okay.
He was not.
Okay.
He
Y'all,
was
I'm going
not.
to tell you something. If y'all are with anybody that mistreats an animal, you get the hell out right then and there.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
You get the hell out right then and there, because there's nothing cute about it. There's nothing
No.
funny about it. Okay? It is disgusting. It's sickening. And that person needs help. Okay? And you get the hell out of there and call the police on them. Okay? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
that's
when you start seeing those kind of actions happening, then that's not an isolated situation. Okay?
no.
Yes.
And so just know that,
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
He actually there's an instance he abused the dog I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
German Shepherd. He was she was a puppy.
I don't know if I can. I don't know.
You can't.
No,
Okay.
I
All
can't.
right. I won't share it then.
I can't talk about it. So,
Okay.
because
Well, it wasn't-
any abuse to anybody, any of
Yeah,
us,
I can't really do
talking about
pet abuse
pets
either.
and children and anybody, it's rough. But I think it's what bothers me the most is when it's with somebody or something that cannot protect themselves.
Exactly.
Does that,
I
does
feel the
that
same
you
way.
understand that?
Yeah.
Pets,
When it's a child, when
elderly.
it's an elderly person, when it's a pet and they cannot defend themselves,
disabled person.
Yeah, a disabled person, no. Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I can't. So, Lace, is there any, last minute? I know we're winding down from this episode. I hate to, because we got so much to say. We got so much
Yeah,
to
there's
say, and
a lot to unfold. So I think we're going to make this into a part 2.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going
We
to
should
need to
do-
make this a part 2, because I've got a lot. I've got a lot to unpack.
Yeah. We'll probably.
Yeah,
You
we
got a
didn't
lot to
realize
unpack.
we had this much to unpack today. So
Right.
And
Yeah.
we want
we
to
didn't realize it.
We want to hear from y'all too.
Right. Like
We
I
want to
said in the
hear from
beginning.
y'all. Okay.
We
'Cause
wanna hear
would
your
like to have you on
stories.
the show. Right? We would like to
Yeah,
have
yes.
y'all on the show too. So we're going to get some stuff going here, and we're going to tell you the way that it is. We are not polishers. Okay.
No.
We're going to give it to you the way that it is. So any comments before we wrap it up, or talk about what's coming next, or
just, if you've been through something like this as well, you want to say something or piggyback on what we talked about, just comment down below so we can address those comments. And stay tuned because we definitely have more unpacking to do. And, this can be a journey for everybody that's going through this. You're not alone.
You're not alone at all.
There's been people that have gone through what you've gone through, maybe worse. And, so just dive in and enjoy the journey, and we'll definitely be unpacking some more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so I would have to say that if you are in a controlling relationship, you can seek help through your local church or through your work employee assistance program, or you can call the domestic hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE, or that's 7233. You can also text Love Is to 22522, or you can visit the www.thehotline.org. So Venties out there, this concludes part 1 of our discussion on controlling behavior. We hope this helps someone out there realize what they're going through, and to let you guys know that you are not alone, that it's happened to a lot of us. So just
And don't be afraid to tell somebody.
yeah, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid to tell somebody.
Yeah,
You know,
tell someone
That's
what
where
you're
a lot
going
of times
through.
things can go south.
Seek
right?
help.
Because we're afraid if we say something to a friend or a family member, and then if you decide to stay with that person, then your family's still on you and shaming you and all of that. So that's why you decide to not say anything to anybody. Y'all, I'm going to tell you something. If your situation's like that, you need to tell somebody. And if you keep wanting to stay with somebody that's like that, that's good that your family's looking out for you. Your family or your close friends, they're trying to look out for you so you won't continue to keep going through that. Okay? Because always in those kind of relationships, you might have a day that's good. Mm-hmm. You might have a week or two or a month or two that's good with that person. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there you go. All right. So
it starts all over again.
Just remember that. Just remember that, y'all. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah. So, Venties, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Is that what we're calling them? Venties?
We're calling, the
Venties.
fans out there, they're
I
Venties.
like that.
And
Venties.
we are your Ventors.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. You
That's
can
right.
vent to us about anything, okay? Doesn't
Let's
matter
vent.
who you are or where you are, okay? And so just know that. We're here. We're here, okay? All right,
we are here
y'all.
for you. So join us for part 2. We have a lot more to share. So this is Vent 365. Bye for now.